here's your prompt. All right, follow along with me. Symbolism is one literary technique that Golding uses to create this complex and beautifully woven web. In a well-written essay of at least 2 pages, explain how Golding uses symbolism in Lord of the Flies to reveal how he thinks about human nature. Okay? So how is symbolism used to demonstrate that he thinks mankind is inherently evil? Okay? You need to incorporate several examples of textual evidence to support your thesis statement, a work cited in a detailed explanation. Okay? So, what I'm asking you to do, it's okay. I'm going to teach you how to do it.
No way.
Okay? Promise. I'm not going to leave you out hanging dry.
Oh, thanks.
Okay? You are going to explain in your essay how symbolism is used to further his thought that mankind is inherently evil. Okay? Think of our Socratic yesterday. Leah's like, I don't know, it wasn't here. She's got a video though coming up. Hopefully. Okay, I'm gonna lend her my phone over the weekend so she can watch it. Think about what we talked about in the ways that symbolism was used to demonstrate that evil, okay? The beast, the fire, the boys, the conch, all of the symbolism, okay? Ryan.
The assignment that was due yesterday.
The symbolism chart?
Yep.
Now do you know why I made you do that? To get you kind of thinking about what everything could mean. I'm trying to make it easier. That wasn't just easy. Okay. So.
Did you say there's a point in the classwork?
Sometimes.
It's like half the time.
To make you guys misery. I try to make it all important in my class. Alright. So, this is the rubric on how to get an A. We're not going to worry about it right now. We're going to go over the essay first, the sample essay, so you guys know what I'm talking about before we get into this is how you win. Okay? So, if you want to take notes, I would suggest it. I have paper. Okay? Oh, you know what? Review expository writing and how to write an essay. And as we are doing that, step by step, we're going to look at a sample essay. Okay? So as we talk about the intro, then we're going to look at an example intro of another essay. So if you want, you can go ahead and click this link where it says Review Expository Writing. That'll bring up the PowerPoint. Okay? Now, I also have this writing sample here. It's an essay sample. I also have printouts. So if you want to annotate on handwritten paper, you want one of those to write on. Okay. If you would prefer to edit it online, that velvet scrunchie is so easy. Oh my gosh. No. I used to have, when I was a gymnast, I used to have a matching scrunchie with all of my lasers.
Why don't you just use a hair tie?
Because it doesn't damage your hair. We're getting way too into this right now, Ryan. Okay. So, you can also take notes on the back of this if you want. That might be a good idea. Alright, so go ahead and close your computers if you're not looking at the PowerPoint or you're not using it.
Can I use the computer to take notes?
Yes. I just don't want it open to distract you if you're not using it for notes or something like that. Okay? Right.
Where's the slideshow, the first one?
Yes. Okay. Alright, we ready? This is where I need you guys to dial in. Okay? Are we ready?
No.
Can we do it?
No. I'm on limited sleep.
I'm always on limited sleep, Ryan. I got a baby. Okay, you want to talk about limited sleep?
I guarantee
Really?
I went to
You wanna
bed
get there?
than you did last night.
How many times did you wake up last night to feed your kid?
I didn't wake up. I just went to the 5.
And my dog, I swear. He woke me up twice. Okay. Expository writing. You may have heard this as informative writing, or, what's another word for it? Maybe it's expository. Explanatory. You may have heard it as explanatory as freshmen or middle school. Okay, is this ringing a bell for anyone? Yeah, because, okay. No, if you're I have no clue what you're talking about. Anybody? Okay. Better than the freshmen. So, the purpose of expository writing is to inform. Okay, so in this type of essay, you are explaining something to the audience. Alright? You're not persuading, you're not arguing, you're not telling a story, you are informing them on a topic. Okay? In this situation, what are you informing the audience on? Right.
How symbolism is really part of the Lord of the Flies, and it's sort of a thing
illustrates how symbolism is used to further his opinion that mankind is inherently evil.
Yeah.
Okay?
The only thing that you would be really arguing is what the allegory is in the story.
Yes. So, but you're explaining the allegory, not
Yeah.
arguing. Okay? For my advanced girls, you guys have to hit symbolism and allegory. Okay? So in your prompt, it says, in a well-written essay, explain how Golding uses symbolism and allegory in Lord of the Flies. Okay? So you just have to hit that second element as well as symbolism. Alright, so we know this prompt, okay? The main point here is that you have to explain how Golding uses symbolism in Lord of the Flies to reveal what he thinks about human nature. Okay? We know what he thinks about human nature. Mankind is inherently evil. So how does the symbolism further that point? Okay, intro paragraph. Okay, so I kind of visualize as an upside down triangle. So with the first part of the essay, it is the most broad, okay? It is the attention getter. So this is kind of like, how am I going to get, think of it this way, how many essays do I have to read? A lot, okay? How are you going to grab my attention in your essay better than someone else? Okay, that's that first line. So it could be a question, it could be an anecdote, okay? It could be a definition, a shocking statement. How are you going to grab my attention? Okay? The next part is the background information. So this narrows down the topic even further, providing background on the novel, the story, Golding, allegory, okay? So you have to connect your hook now into the background. So how are you going to transition to the background information? What does the reader need to know? You probably should tell me what the book is, who the authors that you'll be discussing, okay? Maybe address symbolism. What's just the background information you need to discuss in order to move on to your thesis statement? Okay, I'm going to give you a sample of that. Now we have our thesis statement. Raise your hand if you know what a thesis statement is or feel comfortable explaining what it is. Okay, so for those of you who are not comfortable, a thesis statement is exactly what you're going to be discussing in your essay. It's one sentence, and you're telling the audience, this is what I'm going to be writing, basically, without saying this is what I'm going to be writing. Don't do that, okay? So you're going to be explaining how Golding uses symbolism. So you might have a sentence that's Golding uses symbolism in order to explain his thoughts on human nature by the following. Okay? You're going to have all your main points. We're going to go over that right now. So, the hook. A general introductory sentence designed to attract the reader's attention. Example of brief story, description, statistic. Avoid using the word you or any personal pronouns throughout your entire essay. Okay? The tone. Can you see, Brandon? Okay. I always see it right now, so I'll make sure you know it. The tone is always professional and objective. What does objective mean? What?
Sort of like you not. I can't. Never mind.
Okay, Leah.
You don't really show an opinion. You're just factual.
Okay, how many times have I explained to you guys that I will never tell you my political opinions? Right? Because it's not my job. That's not my job to tell you guys my opinions, right? So.
Objective would be more of like getting to the point rather than like the nitty-gritty is what I would.
Objective?
Yeah.
No, objective is not interjecting your personal beliefs. Okay? So, for instance, if I'm teaching you guys, I'm not supposed to interject my personal beliefs because that's not the point of educating you guys on English, right? Okay? So you will do the same thing. You should never, even in an argument, your opinion should never come through in a certain way to where it's like, okay, that's obviously their thought.
I might go to Miss Hines.
Okay, go ahead. Does that make sense? You don't want that opinion to shine through. You want it to be objective. Just like, did I talk to you guys about objective and like being your favorite child? Was this the class that I talked to us about?
No.
Okay, so how many of you have siblings?
Me.
Okay, how many of you know that there's a favorite child? Okay, so my brother is the favorite child. I always tell my mom, he could murder someone, you would know about it, and you would still defend him. Right? That's my brother. Okay? He is the favorite by far. But my parents will never admit that. They'll always say, no, I love all my children the same. Okay? That is trying to be objective. Okay? You might know the truth, but they are not going to explain their opinion. Right?
What if you're writing about like the political allegory?
You still don't interject your opinion, you prove it with facts.
Oh, you would just say that like at that time this was happening and this is why the author thought that.
Remember, you're explaining, you're not persuading. Okay? Just like this is good practice for in real life, if you get into an argument or you're discussing something of belief with another person, instead of saying, well, I think this. Okay, you can prove it with facts. That's a lot better of an argument than just saying, well, I think this. Okay, you will be a poor arguer. All right, so let's go to our sample essay really quick. So for people at home, this is the assignment you need to be doing in class. Okay, so when I've said that you need to annotate the writing sample, we're going to do this in class. Okay, so people at home are going to do it as well. So you cannot do this assignment without watching the screencast, basically. So I'm going to make a copy of the document. All right, so here's a sample essay. Okay, did it work? Yes. Oh, isn't he adorable? Alright. So we're going to read the first body paragraph, and then we're going to see if we can find where the hook is, the background information, and a thesis statement. Oh my gosh, it's that windy that my door is opened. We're going to blow away. What, dude? Alright, follow along with me as I read the introductory paragraph. Okay? So, is mankind inherently evil? This is a question that is constantly up for debate, but according to William Golding, author of Lord of the Flies, the answer to that question is obvious after reading his novel. In Lord of the Flies, a group of British schoolboys escape. You're just affecting your ability to write this. Okay, stay focused. A group of British schoolboys escape a nuclear war in their home country only to be stranded on a distant island with only themselves and the beast to keep them company. Quickly, the boys escalate into extreme savagery, committing murder, torture, and abuse, showcasing how even innocent children can succumb to mankind's inner evil. Golding utilizes the symbolism of Simon, the beast, as well as the fire to reveal his inner thoughts on the evil within mankind. Zayla, we're going over 12th story essay writing right now, and you're going to imitate this document, okay? As you do. So we just went over intro paragraph and how there's hook, background information, and thesis statement. What's up, mate? Oh, okay. So on our PowerPoint, what color is our hook? Yellow. Okay. So what I would like you guys to do, I have markers. I have yellow markers here. I have yellow colored pencils that you can underline with. Who needs some? Ready? Okay, that's fine. Ready?
Yeah.
You guys have a yellow?
Are we just going to highlight on it?
Yes. Okay. So right now you are highlighting the hook. Let's do it together. Let's go back to our sample essay. Where is the hook? Aiden Frisch. Where's the hook? Huh? Yes. Good job, bud. Okay, so go ahead and highlight that first hook. So we're going to highlight is mankind inherently evil. Okay. Now what's our next? Yeah, that could be part of your background information or your hook, whichever. So if you think that the hook goes further, that's fine. You can say this is part of the hook as well. Okay? So let's go back to our PowerPoint. After the hook, we have the background information. Okay? Remember, the background information is the names, the title, and the author of the literary text being examined. Titles of novels are always italicized in MLA format. Okay. Novels are always italicized. So not underlined, no air quotes, italicized for novel names. Titles of short stories are placed in quotations. If we ever get to essays with that, I'll let you guys know. Okay. So remember, in this point, you're going to provide brief background information establishing important plot, character, and setting details. Okay. So what does the reader need to know to understand your essay? That's basically what it's asking. Okay, let's go back to our intro paragraph. Let's try to find the background information. Is mankind inherently evil? This is a question that is constantly up for debate, but according to William Golding, author of Lord of the Flies, the answer to that question is obvious after reading his novel. In Lord of the Flies, a group of British schoolboys escape a nuclear war in their home country, only to be stranded on a distant island with only themselves and the beast to keep them company. Quickly, the voices escalate into extreme savagery, committing murder, torture, and abuse, showcasing how even innocent children can succumb to mankind's inner evil. Golding utilizes the symbolism of Simon the Beast as well as the fire to reveal his inner thoughts on the evil within mankind. Yes, Nate.
So it would be from, so it would start from in Lord of the Flies and end with inner evil. Would that be the background?
Yes, so you'd also do, but according to William Golding, the answer to that question is obvious. That could also be part of the hook or background, just depending on what you think. Okay? So that would be pink, right? I don't have a pink. Good idea. It's just a pen, but I can still underline it. Okay? So I have markers up there and colored pencils. If no one around you has a pink marker. What's that, Aiden? Yes, it needs to be pink or red. Who needs pink? You pink, red? Alright. Let me know when we're done highlighting the background information. Yes.
Holy crap, this is a lot to highlight.
You got it. Okay.
Well, this is really easy.
If you guys have different colors, like Alex is what she's doing, she's writing blue is hook. Does that make sense? So like if you don't have those colors. Alright, let me know when we're done so we can move on to the thesis.
Dude, this is so fun. I want to do it.
Okay. So we only have one more sentence left. We only have one more sentence left, right? What is it going to be?
Ooh.
Thesis. Okay, so let's review thesis really quick. So the thesis statement is the roadmap to your essay, okay? So I should read your thesis statement and know exactly what your opinion is, your claim on the topic, as well as the main points you'll be hitting in your main body paragraphs, okay? So if you're writing a 5-paragraph essay, how many points should you have in your thesis statement? 3, because you have an intro and a conclusion, okay? If you are writing more body paragraphs, if you want to write 4 or 5, that's totally welcome. My freshmen doing that. They have more points than 3, okay? So then you should have 4 or 5 points in your thesis statement, okay? So it tells the reader what you're going to talk about in your essay. It makes a clear statement about the topic, and it responds to the prompts, okay? So I should not hear anything that does not relate to symbolism in your main points. So here's an example, okay? In Lord of the Flies, the author, William Golding, uses dark symbols such as the devil, pigs, and the beast to display what he believes to be an evil nature of mankind, okay? So where is the answer to the prompt in that piece of statement? Nathan Woodward? So where is like the claim? You remember the prompt is asking you, how does he use symbolism to explain his view on mankind?
When you say that he believes that evil nature, yeah, right there.
Uses dark symbols, okay? So how does he use symbolism? He uses dark symbols. Now, Braden, what are the main points I'm going to be discussing in my essay? So what's going to be my first body paragraph, second, and third? What's one? So remember, we answered our prompts, now we're listing our main points in our body paragraphs. Okay, so what are the ways he uses dark symbols? Number 1 is the devil. Okay, so now my first body paragraph is going to be explaining how Golding uses symbolism of the devil to further his opinion on mankind. The second body paragraph is going to be about what, Braden? Look up here, buddy. It's here. This is different. Sorry. What's the second point? Pigs. So the second main body paragraph is going to be about how he uses symbolism of pigs to further his thoughts. And what's last, Braden? The beast. Okay, so do you see how through your thesis statement I should connect it directly to your first body paragraph, second, and third? Can I have a thumbs up, thumbs middle, or down for understanding how to write a thesis statement? Okay, good. Okay, Liz, can I ask what is confusing so far?
None of it all.
Okay, so how would you answer the prompt? How does he use symbolism to further his thoughts on mankind?
Like the evil one.
Okay, so he uses evil symbolism. Okay, that's the first part of your thesis. William Golding uses evil symbolism to display his thoughts on mankind using, what examples would you want to write about? Just off the top of your head.
Simon's death.
Simon's death. Okay, so that'd be your first body paragraph. Second? You said another symbolism that's kind of evil.
Pigs.
The pigs. What's the third body paragraph? Piggy's death. That's it. That's the thesis statement.
Okay.
It's a lot easier than it's made out to be in middle school when it's terrifying. Right? When no one explains what it is, and you're just like, I think this is a thesis statement. Okay, Alex.
So how are we supposed to write our thesis if we have 2 subjects?
So remember, allegory is symbolism. It's just the entire narrative versus individual points. So you might write 2 body paragraphs on allegory, and then you might write a third on one piece of symbolism. Or you might write one body paragraph on allegory. Yeah, you're not having to write like 6 body paragraphs. You're just discussing both elements rather than just one. So it's a little more challenging for you to. Does that make sense? Okay. Alright, so let's go back to our sample essay. Oh, sorry. What was the color? Was it green?
Yeah.
It was green? Okay. Green means go. So let's highlight in green our thesis statement. In this sample essay, Golding utilizes the symbolism of Simon the Beast as well as the fire to reveal his inner thoughts on the evil within mankind. Okay. I clicked green, I swear.
I was questioning whether I was colorblind or I was yellow.
I was questioning if, like, she's
Sorry, guys. No, I just think I'm okay. Okay. So we should underline someone be green.
Yeah, I am like,
You're green. Be green. Green. Be green. I don't know if that works. Try. Oh, perfect. Okay. Green. Anybody else? Green. Hey, green. Good blue. Okay. So for next time, you green. All right. Can I clear this? Are we good? All right. Can I have thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down for I know how to formulate an intro paragraph. I know all the elements. Woo! Killing the game. All right. All right, eyeballs. Look at me when I say this, okay? Body paragraphs have a certain formula, okay? So basically, if you stick to the formula, you win the game of essay writing.
No order.
Okay? You stick with the formula, you win the game. Okay, it's like Ready Player One. Huh? Yes. Okay, but this is the game of life. Ryan.
that game was not good.
Oh, how dare you? I used to play that game like crazy.
Yeah, when I was younger, I liked it.
I couldn't play board games as a kid because I was so competitive that I would cheat like crazy.
Yeah, my
I can't play games with my husband because we get into like full-on fights over board games. Yes, Garrett. Well, you have like a bridge. We'll explain that. There's like, you don't just like put, whoa. No, did you go to the office?
Yeah.
Why did you get order?
I don't know if I want to contest thing.
I thought you like eat blood at first or something. I was like, why is it on the outside? Alright, so Noah, what we're doing right now is we're going over the sample essay, okay? We're gonna write this. We're going over expository. Okay, so right now we are on the body paragraph. Process your task with that. Okay, we're talking to phosphate. Who do you trust? Alright, eyeballs. Eyeballs, eyeballs, eyeballs. Ryan Avery, I need your eyes. Liz, I need your eyes. Grant, put the phone away. That's- I will take it next time. Are we there? Okay, I believe you, but I will take it next time.
That was Kaylee.
Is it about the skirt thing again?
Huh?
You're still talking about the skirt, why you wear a skirt in the rain?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I know it's important.
Yeah, I know. It was important.
Way more important than being able to pass this class. Woo! Alright, body paragraphs. Okay? You should have at least how many?
3.
I feel like I'm talking over the radio now. Yes, you need to have at least 3 body paragraphs. If you have a 4th or 5th point you really want to discuss, write about it. Okay? So, What's the first thing you should have in your main body paragraph?
The first point.
Okay. Your first point in your topic sentence, yes. Okay. What is important for the topic sentence in the first body paragraph? What should be the first thing? Okay. Introduce the topic. What?
You have to have the start. You have to have like
Transition.
transition.
Okay. Yeah. Nah, not kind of. It just needs to present what you're going to be discussing. Okay. Nate. Eyeballs. Aiden. Okay. So you should have a transition word, such as first of all, the first point is something like that, so that you're transitioning to the body paragraph. Should I say?
So at the beginning of the paragraph, you have to like really state what you're about.
Yes, that's topic sentence. Okay. So that's your topic sentence. You transition to the body paragraph, and you introduce the first main idea or reason that backs up the claim in your thesis statement. Okay. So remember in the sample thesis, what was the first one about? You guys look on your essay. What was the first point? Simon. Okay, so the symbolism of Simon. So then my first main body paragraph should be something about the symbolism of Simon. After I introduce my point, Ryan, Noah. Okay. By the way, does that need to be one sentence or can it be many sentences? Many sentences. Okay. That introduction to your main point and your transition can be several sentences. It's not need to be one. Have you ever had teachers that made you write one sentence for this, one sentence for this? Get out of that habit. Okay. Next is your evidence. So this is where you introduce your quote that proves the claim. Okay, so if I am saying that Golden uses Simon's symbolism to further his thoughts on mankind, I need to have a quote that proves something about Simon's use of symbolism. Right.
We also have to make sure like it's quoted correctly. The quote, at least one in the first paragraph is quoted incorrectly.
How so?
The one with the page number, not the author. Like you always have to add the author.
So in the, well, let's get to that, okay, because I think you're going a little bit hard ahead right now. Okay, I just want to make sure we get the formula down, okay? Next is the explanation. The explanation of how your evidence and quote supports your main idea or reason that backs up your claim, okay? So you just listed your quote, right? You put a quote, something about Simon and the symbolism somewhere in the novel that you found, okay? Now you are explaining how the quote proves your claim to be true, okay? So you're explaining why this quote proves that he uses symbolism of Simon to further his thoughts on mankind's evilness. Does that make sense? Okay. The explanation should be about 5 sentences. You should, that's where like the main point of your essay is you explaining why you think this without using I or I believe or I think. Okay? Because then that drops the validity of your essay down to an opinion rather than factual.
You can't use you either.
No. Try to avoid it. Okay? Yes, Nate. Huh? You just remove it. If you say, I believe Simon was a symbol, just take out I believe Simon was a symbol. Right? Now you have a fact-based sentence rather than opinion. Alex.
So you're supposed to have like how many? Like 5 sentences?
That should be your goal, is to hit 5 sentences of explanation. You might.
You had to do like 3 evidences and explain those evidences for the topic sentence. That's how I was in that.
If you were taught to use specifically 3 pieces of evidence, I mean,
Well, she said like 2.
that's up to you. It depends on the quality of your quote, right?
Yeah.
You can use several throughout your essay. You don't have to just use one. And if you're going to repeat this, then you need to go evidence, explanation,
Yeah.
right? So you can do that several times or have multiple body paragraphs in the same point. I think if you're familiar with this, you know how to break the formula a little bit to make it work, right? All right, lastly is your concluding sentence. Eden, Nathan. Restatement of the thesis. Summarize your main ideas, okay? So how are you going to wrap up that body paragraph? That's your concluding sentence. All right. So if you're more of a visual person, think of a hamburger, okay? The buns are your intro conclusion, and the meat is your reasons, okay? So the main substance of your essay are these main body paragraphs. Without it, you have buns. Who wants to eat a bun sandwich with lettuce and tomato? Not me. Maybe Noah, okay? But Noah's also eating ice cream?
Right.
I'm sorry, Noah's eating rice for breakfast, so...
Okay.
Okay?
I can't cook it.
Alright, so first thing we're going to look for in our sample paragraph is the topic sentence. So you're going to begin all paragraphs with an opinion statement that is linked directly to the thesis. We already talked about that, okay? So your first couple sentences should be related to that main point in the thesis. Directly link each topic sentence to the text being discussed. Okay? So let's look at our sample essay. Let's read our sample first body paragraph. Okay? All right. Everyone look at the screen or your computer. All right. First of all, Golding develops the serene character of Simon as a symbol of goodness and has even been called an allegorical figure for Jesus Christ. After speaking to the Lord of the Flies, finding out that the beast was harmless and horrible, Simon goes to tell the boys the good news that the beast does not exist, physically at least. However, Simon's character comes to a quick fate when he is murdered in the most barbaric way. At once the crowd surged after, poured down the rock, leapt onto the beast, screamed, struck, bit, tore. There were no words and no movements but the baring of teeth and claws. Okay? Here, Simon has died the most horrendous death of being torn apart by his fellow castaways. Simon has been built up throughout the previous chapters as the only good one. He recognized the beast wasn't real physically, he considered the beast was inside the boys, and he always found ways to help the little ones and Ralph as needed. Golding uses Simon's symbolic goodness to showcase how much evil truly lies within these schoolboys. By killing Simon in a torturous way, Golding effectively proves that mankind is evil. By doing so, the boys have killed the beacon of hope, goodness, and light that lives on the island. Just as the biblical Jesus Christ was crucified in sake of other sins, Simon too died at the hands of his community for the sins of others. Okay? So, let's go back to our topic sentence. What color is it? Yellow. Okay, so grab your yellow. Noah Maitland, what would be the topic sentence or sentences? Okay, so what would be the transition?
First of all, Golding develops the certain character of Simon, the symbol of goodness, and has even been called an allegorical figure for Jesus.
Okay, now everybody, go back to page 1 and go back to that thesis statement. Ryan, your turn.
Yeah.
Go back to the thesis statement and find where this aligns. Okay, where does it align? Someone tell me.
So first sentence.
What here? Okay, so I already addressed it in my thesis statement. Am I on path? Does this align with my thesis statement? Yes. Okay, you see how we're connecting now. You might want to draw an arrow to that aspect of the thesis statement. Actually, let's do that. Okay, so go ahead and draw an arrow upwards. Alright, so this is going to go right here, right? See, that's my first part of my thesis statement, symbolism of Simon. No, my first body paragraph is about the symbolism of Simon. You with me? Can I have a head nod or a head no? Okay, cool. Alright, now let's see what comes next. Next is our evidence. Okay? So this is 2 to 5 sentences usually that set up or give background information for a direct quote from a specific example from the text. Okay? So remember how I kind of set it up? How I kind of led into the quote explaining how Simon was murdered and Simon spoke to the beast. It was kind of the big chunk. Although not all body paragraphs contain quotes taken from the text, generally it's considered a good idea, okay? So sometimes you might put in like a personal statement, you might use personal experience as your evidence in other essays. For this essay, you're really using the text, right? You should have a quote in every paragraph, yes.
For example, like if you're doing the World War II allegory, you could, one of your examples could be time of the life, the life that it was at that time.
Yes, but you're still going to have to connect it to the text, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you might use an outside resource for allegorical connections, but you also have to prove where that is in the book. Okay, so you'll probably need both. Kira.
Does your period go on the inside of the quotations or after, like, your citing?
Always after the citation. Okay? If let's say you put a quote and there's no need for a citation because you already said, like, in Lord of the Flies by William Golding, you already kind of gave where it is from the text, you would put the period in the quotation. Okay? So, I'll show you guys on the table outside. So, quotes are always placed within quotation marks. It must cite the author's last name and page number. So, you're right, I accidentally forgot the last name. Okay? So, look at how the last name is cited. Everybody look at it. Aiden, look at it. Okay? You guys see this? Brandon? Alright, so the way you should cite a quote is Golding, and then the page number. No comma, no page, okay? Literally, last name, number. Yes.
If you have already used the last name, can you just do the page?
Yes. So kind of like I messed up in that first body paragraph, right, where it just says 143, you would just put 143 if you said Golding says, or Golding wrote, because you already know who the author is in that sentence. That's called an in-text citation. Okay? Alright, so let's go back to our sample essay and let's find the evidence. Okay, where do we line up the evidence? Someone tell me. Nate?
I was just wondering, you said 2 to 5 sentences.
Yes.
Like, what if our evidence is not long?
You still have to set it up, right?
Just set
Yeah.
it.
Because like I can't just drop in a quote. Because it wouldn't make sense.
Okay.
Here.
So if you mentioned the author's name something in that same paragraph.
No, in that same sentence.
Okay.
Yes. Alright, where is my evidence portion? Zayla.
It wouldn't be a verse quote,
Okay. So remember, the evidence portion is where you set up your quote as well as the quotes. Okay, so I'm going to put pink. I don't have pink, so I'm putting red. Okay, so after speaking to the Lord of the Flies, finding out that the beast was harmless and horrible, Zayla, tell me where to stop highlighting. Okay. Simon goes to tell the boys the good news that the beast does not exist, physically at least. However, Simon's character comes to a quick fate when he is murdered in the most barbaric way. At once, the crowd surged after it, poured down the rock, leapt onto the beast, screamed, struck, bit, tore. There were no words and no movements, but the tearing of teeth and claws. Okay, good. You should be doing this because I will be grading these when you turn them in next week. Okay? Yes, Alex.
When you're setting up for a quote, do you use a comma or a semicolon?
Either. Okay? A semicolon is more like when you're going to list something. So like here I've said, when he is murdered in the most barbaric way, then you might use a colon to kind of introduce that quote. It's a little bit easier to use a comma if you said, Ralph says, comma. If you said Ralph says the following, then you'd probably use a colon. But either are grammatically correct. Okay? That's the second reason you would use a colon is to introduce a quote. Yes?
The reason for semicolon is that if you're answering 2 questions in one sentence, and
Are we about a colon? She's talking about a colon. She's talking about a colon. Alright. Do we understand where we're at right now in our sample essay? Okay. So then what would come next after evidence? Noah Maitland? What comes after evidence? Do I just let the evidence speak for itself, or do I have to?
explain.
Yes, explanation. Okay. Can I erase this? Can I clear this? Okay. Alright. So, now we get to our explanation. So this is where you have, remember, the goal should be about 5 cents of commentary. Okay? This should be the biggest, most significant chunk of your essay, is your explanation. Alright? So it's where you explain or elaborate on how the quote or specific examples relate to and proves that aspect of your thesis. Okay, so what aspect of the thesis are we proving right now? Symbolism of Simon. Good. Okay. So this answers so what? What does this information have to do with the thesis statement? Okay. How does he use the symbolism to further his thoughts on mankind? All right. Erica, can you tell me where the explanation begins and stops? Where would it begin? Good. Okay. So this is green. Remember, this is our explanation. Okay. You got your green? Okay. So Eric, I'm going to read it and tell me when the explanation stops. Okay. Shh, great. Here, Simon has died the most horrendous death of being torn apart by his fellow castaways. Simon has been built up throughout the previous chapters as the only good one. He recognized the beast wasn't real physically, he considered the beast was inside the boys, and he always found ways to help the little ones and Ralph as needed. Golding uses Simon's symbolic goodness to showcase how much evil truly lives within these schoolboys. By killing Simon in a torturous way, Golding effectively proves that mankind is evil. By doing so, the boys have killed the beacon of hope, goodness, and light on the island. Good. Okay? So do you see how much explanation I have here? I'm explaining a lot of why this is so evil and why this symbolism is so evil, and it proves Golding's theory. Okay? So make sure you highlight that in green or underline it if you have a colored pencil.
There's only one quote here.
No, there were two.
Do we need two, or should we just have one?
It depends on how strong your evidence is. So, like, my first quote was that the beast was harmless and horrendous, right? That's probably not enough to explain the symbolism. But the next quote does a really good job of explaining his death and why it was so evil. So do you understand how I've had to explain how my quote proves my thesis? I can't just give a quote and leave it. I have to explain why this is an example of evil symbolism and why that symbolism proves his theory on mankind. Grant, where is my concluding sentence?
The last one.
Okay. So, our concluding sentence, let's just wrap up your thoughts. What's the last thing you want to say on this topic? Okay. In this case, in the concluding sentence, again, can be more than one sentence. It does not have to be just one. Okay? Alright, what was the color? Blue? Blue. Okay, I'm going to underline it. Just as the biblical Jesus Christ was crucified in sake of others' sins, Simon too died at the hands of his community for the sins of others. Underline that in blue. Oh. Ah. I just died.
Wait, did your topic sentence be multiple?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
No, it should not be read unless you mark at the top that your red means conclusion. Alright. You want pen or
Oh,
see if this works. See if this works. Yes. Okay. How is that really understood? Alright, can I clear? Alright. We just went through an entire body paragraph. Okay? So now we're going to go through a second one without referring back to different elements. Okay? Janessa, what is the first part of a... Actually, I'm really going to pick on you right now. Make sure you got this. Is that okay? And I'm really going to pick on you right now, okay? I want to make sure you have this. So what's the first part of your expository essay of the body paragraph? The introductory sentence, okay? So we're talking about the main body paragraphs, remember? So we already did our intro paragraph, now we're in the body paragraph. So the first part is your transition and your introductory sentence, okay? So Aiden, we're going to read this body paragraph together, and you're going to tell me where the topic sentence is, okay? Body paragraph number 2, ready? Ryan, focus. Nate, Grant, focus. In addition to Simon, Golding also creates this beast as a symbolism of the evil that lives in all of mankind. In the beginning of the novel, the boys are happy and carefree without any fear of the beast. It is only when the confines of civilization have gone away that the beast appears. When the pig's head speaks to Simon, it says, "Fancy thinking the beast was something you could hunt and kill. You knew, didn't you? I'm part of you. Close, close, close. I'm the reason why it's no-go, why things are what they are. Here, the beast taunts Simon, telling him that I'm part of you. This physical beast the boys are also afraid of is no more than the brutality and savagery that is within them." Golding paints a physical manifestation of this ugly savagery. I lost my place. Of this ugly savagery, so that the boys have something to base their fear on, when in fact they are scared of what they could become on this island without any remnants of civilization. Golding is so effective at showing the evil nature with this symbol because the beast itself is such a frightening thing that the audience does not realize it is a symbol early on. Yeah.
When you say I'm part of you, like quotes, you have to sign that.
No, because I just cited it. Okay, that's not a new quote. That's just pulling from the quote I've already cited. Does that make sense, Nathan? So, like, if you say a quote and you just pull out another point of it to make a point, you don't need to cite it again because you already cited it. Okay? Alright, Aiden, where's my topic sentence or sentences? Okay, so in addition to Simon, there's my transition, right? I'm adding on to body paragraph number 1. Ryan. Golding also creates this beast as symbolism of the evil that lives in all of mankind. Go back to the thesis statement. Go back to the thesis statement. Turn your pages to page 1. Okay? What aspect does this feed into the thesis statement with? The beast. Okay, that's my second point, right? Now it's here within my second body paragraph. So just like this, when you guys write your own essays, I should be able to look at your main body paragraph and go back to your thesis and say, okay, here it is. Okay? Remember, it's your roadmap. Alright. We're on red pink?
Yeah.
Alright, Aiden. Okay, what comes after the topic sentence? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna start lining and tell me when to stop. Okay?
Oh, shoot.
Ready? In the beginning of the novel, the boys are happy and carefree without any fear of the beast. It is only when the confines of civilization have gone away that the beast appears. When the pig's head speaks to Simon, it says, "Fancy thinking the beast was something you could hunt and kill. You knew, didn't you? I'm part of you. Close, close, close. I'm the reason why it's no-go. Why things are what they are." Good job. Killing the game. Okay. Good job, kiddos. Alright. Now, Aiden. What comes after explanation? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Oh
What comes after evidence? He's multitasking.
Explanation.
Good job, Eddie. Okay. Now, what does the explanation do, Liz? What's that? You just ate something. I'm sorry. What's the point?
Doesn't it like explain why they wrote that?
Yes, it explains why the point. Holy brain. Explain why the quote proves your point. Okay. All right. So Aiden, I'm gonna start. We're in green, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So Aiden, I'm gonna read the explanation. Tell me when to stop. Here, the beast taunts Simon, telling him that I'm part of you. This physical beast the boys are also afraid of is no more than the brutality and savagery that is within them. Golding paints a physical manifestation of this ugly savagery so that the boys have something to base their fear on, when in fact they are scared of what they could become on this island without any remnants of civilization. Okay, good. Good job, bud. Okay. So do you see how I've explained clearly how the beast is a symbol of evil, and it promotes his theory that mankind's inherently evil. Okay, I've explained that to you. Don't let the quote. You guys have to make up the quote, right? You can't let that speak for itself. Okay. What's my last color? Blue. Okay. Aiden, what's the last thing? Concluding sentence, right? Good job. Okay. Golding is so effective at showing the evil nature with the symbol because the beast itself is such a frightening thing that the audience does not realize it is a symbol early on. Okay? Yes. Alright. Are we getting this? Do we feel confident? Kind of a head nod or a head no? Yeah, you just feel that. Good job. How are you? Okay. Who feels like they might be struggling a little bit, honestly? Grant, you put your head back, so I'm gonna guess you.
What? No, I was just like stretching.
Okay, Grant, you're up. Alright, Grant, what's the first thing in a main body paragraph?
The
Introduction.
Yes, the introductory sentence. Okay?
Yes.
What's that first thing that you do at the very beginning of the main body paragraph?
What? Transition.
Good. Okay. So this is yellow highlighter. So here's my transition, correct? Lastly, all right, tell me. Oh, we need to read this body paragraph. All right, let's read this together. Ryan, focus, okay? All right, here we go. Lastly, the fire is also symbolic in regards to how Golding perceives human nature. Near the beginning, the fire is seen as a savior, the only way the boys can get off the island. However, when their light of hope burns out of control, Piggy sarcastically tells Jack, "You got your small fire, all right." By the end of the novel, Jack's hunters track Ralph as he runs through the island with a massive fire blazing. Ralph considers how quickly the fire moves. Couldn't a fire outrun a galloping horse? These quotes explain how every time the fire began to burn in hopes of being saved or rescued, the fire blazed out of control, and instead of salvation, the fire led to more destruction. Symbolically, the fire represents the destruction that mankind brings to the world. Adding to that, the fire brings Ralph directly to the feet of the British soldier. Ralph staggered to his feet, tensed for more terrors, and looked up at a huge peaked cap. A naval officer stood on the sand, looking down at Ralph in weary astonishment. The fire has led Ralph to the feet of civilization, finally an adult. However, just like the fire was created to bring on a rescue, which ended up killing the little one with the mulberry-colored birthmark, this fire has led Ralph to what he perceives to be rescue. But what the fire has really brought Ralph to is another kind of savagery, war. The officer is an example of how this evil within the boys exists in real life. Therefore, the fire symbolizes the destruction that mankind forges on each other. Okay? That was kind of a deep one. Okay? Sometimes you gotta, like, really think and make these connections. Okay? As long as you can prove it with textual evidence, it works. Alright, Grant. I'm picking on you. You're the first one to move. Okay? So this one's kind of tricky because it's a little bit out of order.
So many quotes.
Okay. Yes. Alright. Alright, Grant. So we have our transition, okay?
Yeah.
Where's my introductory sentence?
The first one.
Okay, so lastly, the fire is also symbolic in regards to how Golding perceives human nature. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Alright, so what's the next thing in a body paragraph, Grant?
Evidence.
Evidence, okay? So that is pink. Alright, so I'm going to read. Tell me when to stop. Tell me when the evidence ends, and then I get into explanation.
Well, there's like a lot of evidences.
Maybe I repeated my formula. So if I go evidence, explanation, that's okay. Near the beginning, the fire is seen as a savior, the only way the boys can get off the island. However, when their light of hope burns out of control, Piggy sarcastically tells Jack, "You got your small fire, all right." By the end of the novel, Jack's hunters track Ralph as he runs through the island with a massive fire blazing. Ralph considers how quickly the fire moves. Couldn't a fire outrun a galloping horse? These quotes...
That's like it, I think.
Good. Good job, Grant.
Thanks. You too.
I know, I did such a good job reading that.
I know.
Okay. Hey guys, this language right here, these quotes explain, this quote proves, this quote explains. That's how you win the game of life.
No way.
Okay?
That's how you win an A.
Okay? That's how you win an A.
Wait, what's the
A
thing?
isn't like.
The pink is the evidence. Okay? Alright. What comes after evidence, children? Explanation.
And then after that, more evidence.
This body paragraph? Yes. Okay, can I erase? Does it work? A lot of those ones don't really work. Alright. I'm gonna keep going. Oh, my brain, guys. Ah! Grant.
I have to do more?
Yes, buddy!
Why?
I want to make sure you got this.
But then we
Unless, as someone else, they want to do this to make sure they understand
Wait, didn't you just erase it though?
that portion. Brayden, you feel like you got this? Don't say sure. Now I'm going to pick on you. Alright, you're done, Grant. We're on Brayden now.
Yes.
All right, Brandon. So we're on explanation now, okay? So we are in green. Explanation is green. All right, Grant. Tell me when explanation ends. Begins and ends, okay?
That's not Grant.
You call me Grant.
Did I see Grant?
Yeah.
I was just talking to Grant. Sorry, Brandon. Okay? So I'm going to read. Tell me when to stop when explanation ends. These quotes explain how every time the fire began to burn in hopes of being saved or rescued, the fire blazed out of control, and instead of salvation, the fire led to more destruction. Symbolically, the fire represents the destruction that mankind brings on the world. Adding to that, the fire brings Ralph directly to the feet of the British soldier. Ralph staggered. Should I stop? I'm introducing a quote. Right? So now I've ended my explanation and I'm repeating evidence. Okay? So you can repeat the formula. You can put evidence, explanation, that's fine. Okay, if you want to do more than one quote. Alright, Brayden. So now we're back to evidence, correct? Okay, so evidence is red. Alright, so I'm going to read the evidence. Tell me when the evidence ends. Adding to that, the fire brings Ralph directly to the feet of the British soldier. Ralph staggered to his feet, tensed for more errors, and looked up at a huge peaked cap. A naval officer stood on the sand, looking down at Ralph in weary astonishment. Good. Okay. Really quick, kiddos. Look at the board. Everyone really quick. Nate, Aiden, Alex, Erica. Okay. Do you see this nice little thing right here? Does anyone know why I did that? Juliana?
So that you can put what needs to be said to make sense for the rest of the paragraph, but it's
Yes.
not what's in the book. It might have been like here or something.
Yes.
But that doesn't
So
make
if you
sense.
need to change a word in the quote, you can do that. What you do is you put brackets around it. Okay? So this quote said he staggered to his feet, but that wouldn't have made sense in my layout. Okay, so you guys wouldn't know who he was. So I just put brackets around it and put Ralph. Zayla. You could have, but I want to make it clear.
What does toss mean?
Oh!
Brackets too?
Huh?
Don't the have to go brackets too?
No.
Oh, really?
So, that's called an ellipses. Okay? It's on there, yes. When you put the ... and you put spaces between the dots, it's called an ellipses. So, why I did this quote was like yay big in the book, right? And I only wanted that first and the last part of the sentence. The ... means that you just kind of collapse that middle part. So I'm technically saying, I'm quoting all that other stuff, and then it ends here. So if you want to take a really big quote, but you really only want like the end of it and the beginning of it, just put a ... Okay? So for instance, let's say I want to quote this entire paragraph right here. You guys see how big that is? But the middle stuff doesn't do anything for me. I don't need it. And you just want that first sentence and the last one, you can put the ... and it's totally grammatically correct. Does that make sense? Okay. So, Brayden, what comes after our evidence again? Explanation. Good. Which is what color? Green. Okay. So I'm going to read. Tell me when to stop on explanation. The fire has led Ralph to the feet of civilization. Finally, an adult. However, just like the fire was created to bring on rescue, which ended up killing the little one with the mulberry-colored birthmark, this fire has led Ralph to what he perceives to be rescue. But what the fire has really brought Ralph to is another kind of savagery, war. Should I stop? The officer is an example of how this evil within the boys exists in real life. Good. Okay? So you see how I've explained how this fire, it's supposed to be hope for the boys, right? But in reality, it's symbolizing human destruction. Because every time this fire exists, it brings on a death, it brings on a dance, it brings on... Okay? Thank you, Erica. Alright. And lastly, blue. Okay? This is our concluding sentence. Therefore, the fire symbolizes the destruction that mankind forges on each other. It is that the only way the fire can be interpreted? No. Okay, you can interpret the fire as a different symbol.
No way.
Your essay should not look like mine whatsoever. Okay? You should not take any ideas from me.
What if we were?
Well, you could take fire, and you could take the beast, but it should not look like mine. It should not have the same explanation, right?
But what if we have
Yes.
the same
So like the
explanation?
sirens.
Right, you could
Or like
Yeah, you can talk about the symbols inside.
like
100%.
You could have
You should at least do another one that I did not do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we use some of like the language
Good
and
shit.
like some of the words, like not copy.
Like the transition words and things like that, of course. Okay, that's why you have it, right? It's to give you assistance. Okay,
Hit my head. It's okay though.
can I erase it? All right, concluding sentences. Let's go back to our PowerPoints. I'll go back. Actually, no. I'm good. Okay, conclusion. Eyeballs. Leah gives me a finger. Okay, so remember how we had the upside down triangle? Now we go backwards. Now we go super specific to broad. Okay? So we start by going back to our thesis statement. How did I effectively examine my thesis statement? Okay? Then I'm going to review my main points. What were some of the things we discussed? And then here, where you can wrap up the final thought. Okay? What is the call to action? What do you want the reader to do? What do you have to say about the world? Okay? Bring it to like a big last thought on the world, on real life context. Okay? So, good? Okay. So the first, I didn't do before. Okay? So the first thing we're going to look for is the rewrite of the thesis. Okay? Where is that addressed? Alright. In summary, Golding utilizes symbolism effectively and thoroughly in order to underline what he believes to be true about human nature. It is inherently evil. Okay, did I go back to my thesis? Okay, good. So I'm going to go back to my yellow. I'm going to highlight it. Okay. Alright, excellent. I've got my first sentence, which goes back to my thesis. Do you guys see my transition here? You need to transition into your conclusion. Okay? You have to signal to me that it's not another paragraph. Alright, now I'm going to reiterate my three main points, which were what? Simon, the beast, fire. Good. The use of Simon to symbolize the goodness in mankind, only to strike it down. The beast to symbolize the evil that resides in each one of us. And the fire to symbolize destruction creates an entirely new meaning to Lord of the Flies. Okay? Did I hit my three main points? Did I reiterate them? Yes. Okay, so that was pink or red. Okay, what's the last thing in the green? Okay, this is the what? Okay, connecting to real life. Ready for this? Okay, Aiden. Ready? Did you say no? Oh, I was like, what's up? However, if what Golding says is true, how could there be so many accounts of positivity and goodness within the world? Consider public servicemen and women who sacrificed lives in order to save strangers, or the many volunteers at the county animal shelter. If mankind was naturally evil, how does one explain these events? Golding's outlook on mankind is his opinion and his only. The world can hope to prove him wrong. Okay? So do you see how I've connected that to kind of like, why the heck did I write this essay? Okay, you're connecting it to real life. Okay? You're connecting it to why is this important? Why is this symbolism important? You good, Noah? I know, buddy. Okay? So this is my wrap it up, okay? For you guys, honestly, the conclusion is always the biggest struggle because you don't know how to end it.
I
Okay?
would like to just like reword what I said.
Yeah. People are like, do I just like re-say my thesis?
Yeah,
I just read the end. Big capital.
Yeah, okay. So this is how you really put effort into it. Is that call to action to like the real world. Why did I just write this essay? Why is it important? Okay. I'm talking about maybe his opinion is an inaccurate one, right? Okay. So, can I have a thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down on two things? One, I understand all the elements of expository writing, and two, I feel like I could do this. Okay? Thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down.
Don't you need a conclusion?
That is the conclusion. Thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down from everybody. I understand all the elements and I feel like I could do this. Excellent. Okay. I didn't see your finger. Okay. Cool, I'm gonna erase it. Good job, kiddos. If you struggled with this before, did that clear things up on how to do this? Okay. Tell me if like what I'm doing is working. Okay, I want to know so I can change it. So, here's what you have to do now. Okay, you have to write a thesis statement draft. So, remember the thesis statement is two things. One, your claim or the answer to the prompt. So explain how Golding uses symbolism to reveal what he thinks about human nature. Okay? What does he use in symbolism? And for specific examples. Okay? So figure out, remember that symbolism chart I had you guys do 2 days ago? That was to kind of give you ideas about what you might use. Okay? So what are 3 examples of symbolism that you want to discuss in your essay? At least 3. You can do 4 or 5. That's fine. Say that.
Is an essay just about is mankind and evil? Is that the question of answering, or is it about symbolism?
Explain how Golding uses symbolism in Lord of the Flies to reveal how he thinks about human nature. Okay, so how does he use symbolism in order to explain his thoughts? Okay.
So we're explaining the symbolism about it, and then we're coming back to how he's using it.
Yes. So, for example, the fire. Okay. How does he use the fire to explain that he thinks human nature is inherently evil? Okay. The way I described it in that sample essay was that he uses fire to symbol like rescue and hope, but in reality, it always leads to death or negativity, right? So even the symbol of hope, it reveals this evil, inner evil of mankind, the war that they're going back to. Okay? PR?
Do we do it online or like?
I would do that on mine, because I want to make sure you guys got it before you start writing your essays. Right? Because if you put a thesis statement that's like way off the handle, I want to make sure that I can adjust it. So you're working on your thesis statements right now. I want to point this out, okay? On that last page of your packet, whether you're at home and you're going to do it online, or you want to print it out and do it here. Oh, I also have the works cited for Lord of the Flies. Okay?
Just all only one side.
Unless you do outside research and you want to include that. This is your graphic organizer. Really? Really? Okay, Nate. I'm sorry, Grant.
Huh?
Okay? Graphic organizer is in the back of your packets. Okay, Ryan. Okay? So this is just pre-writing. You are not writing your entire intro paragraph and your entire essay here. You're just mapping out ideas. Okay? So this is due in class on Wednesday. I want you to keep it because if you turn it into me, then it's just pointless. You're not going to use it. Okay? Your essay, your first draft, is due in class on Wednesday. Okay? So you should do this tonight so that you can start drafting over the weekend. Alright?
So this and the draft is due next
On Wednesday. Okay? So you basically have a week to write your first draft of your essay. What's up, Noah? We don't have school tomorrow or Monday, I'm sorry. Okay, but 4-day weekend, so you should be able to get this done. Yeah, Kara.
So 12 of them are due once.
Yes. So honestly, you could do this right now in class and just map out your ideas, okay? Shh, boys. Because your thesis statement is going to be here, okay? Your main points are within your thesis statement. So now you have to find your evidence from your book, and we're going to go with it, okay? So, do your graphic organizer tonight, and then bring it next week when we do our peer review. Your first draft is due Wednesday, okay? Both are due Wednesday. So, over the weekend, you need to finish your graphic organizers and write your draft. Is that clear? Okay. So, when is your draft due? Wednesday. When's your graphic organizer due? But you should do it tonight, right? Because you do that before you write your essay. Alex. Yes. Yeah. Just twist it a little bit, you know what I mean? Like for, yeah. Yeah, you want to, yeah. Just tie that into your symbolism.
Yeah.
Right? It's all the same thing. I'm forcing them to hit it. Alright, so what you should be doing first is your thesis statement. So on your computers, draft your thesis statement. Okay, that's the first thing you should start to do by tomorrow at 8 a.m. Okay? Does anyone want help with the thesis statement? Okay, Liz, I'll come over with you.